Welcome, everybody. College Football Week 3 is in the books, and College Football Week 4 is here. I'm Joe DeTulio with the Game House, and today we're going to be taking a look at NFL draft prospects to watch in College Football Week 4. Alright, as mentioned, we're going to take a look at the top 5 draft prospects to watch in College Football Week 4. As a reminder, we try not to repeat any draft prospects we've done in the past videos. We also stick to 5 just to kind of give more of a focus on which ones to watch. There's definitely guys that, could be picked that weren't picked, or guys on the same team that are playing and having big matchups as well. But we're going with these 5 for this week, and we're going to try to get to as many draft prospects by the end of the season as we go along. So let's get it started. The number 1 draft prospect to watch this week is Marvin Harrison Jr. Ohio State's been breaking in a new quarterback this year. They're still 3-0. Hasn't been all pretty all the time. There's also some issues on the offensive line. Kyle McCord is kind of finding his footing. He was Marvin Harrison Jr.'s high school quarterback, so they do have some chemistry, even though it didn't show up in the first week of the season. So far this season, Marvin Harrison Jr. has 14 catches, 304 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Now, their matchup for Week 4 is a big one. It's against Notre Dame, and Notre Dame actually has some really good corners in Cam Hart and Benjamin Morrison, who will test Harrison. Might be one of the biggest tests he has all year in terms of just the corner matchup. While, there are some other games on the schedule, like Penn State, who have some good corners, and Michigan will have some good corners too. But just, it's interesting to see how they match up with them. And we know that later in the season, we'll take a look at Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State as well for some of those matchups. But this one's going to be a fun one. We'll see if Ohio State can kind of have that quarterback play improve and compete with a team that is, looks pretty good so far in Notre Dame. So far, Marvin Harrison Jr. is slotted to be the top wide receiver selected in the 2024 NFL Draft. I don't see that changing. I think he's probably going to be the best wide receiver prospect, maybe since Calvin Johnson, honestly. I know you could throw in A.J. Green and Julio Jones as well, but he's that good. He's big, he's strong, he's fast. He runs, I think 22 miles an hour per hour is what he was tracked at. He has good route running skills. It's just, the guy that you would build in the lab, basically, to be your wide receiver prospect is Marvin Harrison Jr. So, interested to watch out for this one. I think he can have a good day as long as Kyle McCord can get him the ball, which again was a problem in Week 1, but seems like it's getting corrected right now. Also in that Notre Dame-Ohio State game, Joe Alt, the offensive tackle. Notre Dame, as mentioned, started off the season really well. They're 4-0 heading into Week 4 because they played in Week 0 against Navy. They played more games. Things have been pretty smooth for the Fighting Irish. There have been a couple times where maybe they should have won games by more, but a big part of their offense improving is Sam Hartman at quarterback, but also the offensive line play really helping them out. They're able to run the ball, and last year they didn't have the quarterback to pass, but now Joe Alt's been able to show that he can pass block too. So this week against Ohio State, going up against a good defensive line. I mean, JT Tuimoloau, excuse me, Jack Sawyer, Tyleik Williams, so many good players on the defensive line that will test him. I think if they are able to, the key to the game is Joe Alt and the rest of the offensive line being able to give Sam Hartman time to throw. It might be hard to move the ball on the ground, but they got Sam Hartman to improve this passing offense, and if they can do that, they can win. Now, Joe Alt, is in the running to be the first tackle selected in the 2024 NFL Draft. I think right now I have Olu Fashanu out of Penn State as the number 1, but Joe Alt's a pretty good prospect so far. He's played pretty well, All-American, so again, we love these matchups because you get to see these premier prospects going up against each other and some storied programs too as well going up against each other. Number 3, Keon Coleman out of Florida State. They're 3-0 to start the season. Offensive playmakers have really impressed. A few future NFL draft prospects on that side of the ball for them, but Keon Coleman has really stood out. The transfer from Michigan State, he has 12 catches for 170 yards and 4 touchdowns on the year. Now, last week they did struggle against Boston College. Now they have to go play Clemson, so this is going to be kind of huge. They haven't beat Clemson since 2014. But this is probably their best chance to do it. They have plenty of transfer talent that has come in over the last 2 years. They have, I would say, just plenty of faith in Jordan Travis, the quarterback, and the defense has some good players too. Jared Verse, I know we've already talked about it in these type of articles earlier this year. But it's going to be hard to double-team Keon Coleman because of all the weapons they have on offense. And this Clemson defense is still really good. A lot of future pros. The problems with Clemson, to me, still are stay on that offensive side of the ball. But if the best thing to do for the Florida State is just to get out to an early start, make Clemson play catch-up. If they do that, it would be very hard for a team that hasn't found their offensive footing to come back. So Keon Coleman will be expected to have a big, big day, and he has really rocketed up draft boards this offseason, and then even this season, I think he went from maybe, a guy that people hadn't really been paying attention to before this offseason to all the way up to possibly wide receiver 2 with 6'4" and kind of a fast player as well. So he's kind of in that Marvin Harrison Jr. mold of like a bigger guy but still has some speed. So made some really good highlight plays in the early part of the season. I'm excited to see what he can do against this Clemson defense. Then also on this Clemson defense, the Clemson game, Clemson Florida State game, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. So Clemson started off the season, not as they probably envisioned. They're still 2-1 though. They lost to Duke. Duke's a pretty good team. We saw last year they played pretty well under Mike Elko. This year playing pretty well. So far, Jeremiah Trotter is the leader on this defense. 17 total tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble in the 3 games they played this year. So he's going to have a huge part in slowing down these Florida State playmakers. I'm not saying he's going to be matched up man-to-man against, Keon Coleman on the outside or anything, but a guy in the middle of that defense, making sure everyone's lined up, helping stop the run, and Trey Benson, that running back for Florida State, is pretty good. So, making sure they shut down the run. He doesn't have the length and top-end speed you're really looking for a linebacker, but he plays very instinctively, and that can really help. Excited to see him go up against premier competition because they've already played Duke. They have this game against Florida State, and they have a game against Notre Dame. He's not going to have the most marquee games left in the season after this game. There's going to be one more game against Notre Dame where we'll be excited to see him. But, with these articles, we'll be looking at some other prospects on the defense probably going up against that Notre Dame team. So excited to watch what he can do against Florida State specifically. Can he match up with that speed that Florida State has on offense? That'll be something I'm watching specifically. The last one we have, Cooper DeJean, cornerback, Iowa. So he's also could be a safety. We're going to get into that a little bit later here. But Iowa is 3-0, largely thanks to the defense. We know the offensive struggles over the last couple of years. It's put a lot of pressure on the defense to play better. One of the better players on the defense is Cooper DeJean, who has 19 total tackles, a half a tackle for loss, and 1 pass defended this season. In week 4, they're playing Penn State. Penn State is a pretty good offense, and Drew Allar is still getting his footing as a young quarterback, his first year starting. So if Cooper DeJean can make some big plays and kind of maybe pick off Drew Allar, that could really help this defense stay in the game, help this team stay in the game. So that's going to be important for him, is just to kind of maybe force turnovers, make it tough on Drew Allar to get comfortable, and then let the rest of the team kind of stack the box and, stop the run. So if Cooper DeJean and the rest of the secondary can play well and don't need extra help, that'll be huge for this. So he's a really good player. He has pretty good ball skills, but a lot of people say he could play safety in the pros. I don't know what he's going to play. I don't honestly frankly care. I think now watching draft prospects is just kind of get a feel of what they can do. And he looks like he can be an impactful NFL player. So excited to see what he can do against other future pros going up against him at Penn State. Maybe not specifically wide receiver position, but at least a big matchup on Saturday night for Cooper DeJean and the Iowa Hawkeyes. All right, what NFL draft prospects are you watching in week 4? Make sure to let me know in the comments below. For now, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.